Alright, so this video is specifically going over the features of the most current up-to-date database as of January 2nd, 2017. And that database version, I kind of did away with the date version numbers, and I went to kind of by when it was last updated. So this one is for FY17 quarter 2. If there's any changes to this, it'll be put out kind of the same way as our retain messages. So it'll be a FY17 quarter 2 change 1 or change 2, change 3. Hopefully I don't have that many changes. So for the database, one of the biggest things that I like to put out is if you don't know how to do the stuff that this database does without using the database, such as if you don't know how to do your own stat sheet, if you don't know how to do an eligibility roster, if you don't know how to figure out who your 9 golfs are, it's really important that you learn that information before you start using the database. Only because if this database gets discontinued for whatever reason, there is no way of, then you're pretty much in a bad situation because now the one thing you depended on is no longer there to help you. So that's kind of a big thing, is make sure that you know how to do the stuff that this database can do without the use of the database. The database is only a tool to help you save time, but again, it is just a tool. And in saying that, the first thing that you'll see when you come into this database is a disclaimer. And just to kind of summarize it, basically, if you make a mistake based off of this database, you can't go back to your sergeant major, or your senior or whoever and say, Sergeant Aldana messed me up, his database gave me bad information. And most of this information you're going to get is accurate, but again, this database doesn't replace you being a career counselor and doing your job. It's just a tool to help you facilitate your job. So again, when you go to this disclaimer, it's going to give you 3 options. You can either use it as a career counselor, use it as a retention NCO, or you can get out of here if this disclaimer is just too much for you to handle. And again, if you get me out of here, it just closes the database. Now, the first time you open the database, if you've never had it on your computer before, the first thing you'll see is this yellow bar and a little box that says Enable Content. Before you can use the database, you got to click on Enable Content. This little disclaimer will reload, and then you'll be good to go. So the moment you click on, again, career counselor, once you click on that, or retention NCO, it's going to automatically make a quick report folder in your public documents on your computer. So that way you don't have to go and make it yourself. And to see what's in your quick report folder, I have a nice little button here. Just click on that and it'll automatically take you to your quick report folder. And so in my pulling reports video, I also showed how to make a quick little shortcut on your desktop, so that way when you save files, when you save your reports, you don't have to go manually in here go to C drive, go to users, go to public, go to public documents, go to quick report. Yeah, that can get tedious after a while. So again, go to my pull reports video and it'll show you how to make this thing on your desktop, so that way all you have to do is just click on that. If you're trying to save your report, all you have to do is click on desktop and then find that little shortcut, and it'll take you right there to save your files. If you haven't learned how to set up your database or how to pull your files, make sure you watch those videos first. This video is strictly on what this database is capable of, what it can do. First going in there, you'll see this tab, Input Units, Input UICs. That's all your UIC information. If you don't have, if you have information, you want to make sure that this is in there first. And again, that goes back to your setup video. But this is kind of what this looks like. Now, if let's say you're in a new unit and you have no idea what the links are for half the stuff that you use. This little button here takes you to helpful links. This will take you to how do you get to Keystone or Retain the Web, your tab, RMC calculator, email-po, iPerms, the Macon folder, eProfile, MOS Smartbook, Citrix, Enterprise Email, Pubs and Forms, and then Note messages. And then if you need to change role, like let's say you accidentally clicked on career counselor and you meant to go to retention NCO, just click that change role button and it'll take you back. So the first thing that you're probably going to use most of the time is your rosters and reports. So again, it's just like another tool. Anybody with these ETS dates, this date or prior to this date is eligible to be locked in for an option, since you can lock in 16 months out. And anybody with this ETS date or before is eligible to be reenlisted. Now, for your rosters and reports, you have two reports here. You have your quarter, which this will automatically be filled in for the beginning of those that are eligible for this quarter. So obviously October 1st, 2017, and this will automatically be updated to 15 months out. So when you come into, like if I open this tomorrow, this should say 4/2/2018. Again, you can change these if you want. If you want to go even farther out, it's up to you. But these obviously need to be in there. Now you can further. So when you're pulling these, you can filter out, by battalion, by company, and then even term. Now, if you kind of want to look at everybody, just leave these blank. If you want to look for, only mid-career soldiers in, Alpha Troop, then, you can do it that way. But if you want to search for everybody, or if you don't want mid, you just want everybody in Alpha Troop, then just delete that. And, if you just want everybody in the battalion, if the only unit information you have is your battalion, you could literally leave this blank. If you're using this at the brigade level and you have several battalions, then obviously you'll want to select your battalion. And the same goes for your FY eligibility roster. So you have the option of viewing it and then printing it, and you also have the option of also saving it as a PDF. But you put the date range in here is kind of lets you manipulate it. Your FY, that date range isn't going to really change. It's automatically set for 90 days from today's date up to September 30th. So you don't really have to input. All you really have to do is just select what criteria you're looking for, and then either view it or export it. So when you click this, it's going to ask you, do you want to include non-eligible soldiers? The reason why this is in here is, for those of us who are in the force, who work under FORSCOM, well, based off FORSCOM's current SAB checklist, they want to make sure that you're counseling non-eligible soldiers as well. So if you hit yes, then it's going to show you all your soldiers, to include soldiers who are flagged, soldiers who are are 9 Golf, whatever. If you hit no, then it's only going to show fully eligible soldiers. So regardless of what I click on, you're not going to see anything because, again, I'm not going to display any personal information here. But here, this is pretty much kind of what it's going to look like, but obviously there's going to be a bunch of them and it's going to have names. But it's going to show you obviously the soldiers' battalion, company, term, rank, their name, MOS, ETS, DROS, all this information. What day they're eligible to reenlist on, what day they hit their 90-day window. If they're eligible for a bonus, it's going to put either if it doesn't have anything, then they're not bonus eligible. If they are bonus eligible, it'll be in green. It'll say bonus eligible. And then if they have a potential of being changed to 9 Golf, then it'll have the date that will possibly happen. And then retention status is it's on another part of this database, but it kind of shows you the soldiers. When you input information like the soldiers going to ETS or the soldiers going to reenlist for this, in the database, it'll show up on here. So that way, the database stores it, and it looks pretty, and you can just keep updating it. But I'll go over that part later. And the same thing with your FY roster. It's going to have the same information, except it's not going to have eligible on, because they should be eligible based off their date, because it's an FY mission. Then you have your 9 Golf. Your 9 Golf basically shows you all soldiers who are in the ranks of specialist or sergeant, who are currently with an ERUP of 10, that should be coded 9 Golf. So again, if you have soldiers, they'll show up on here. Then you have your ERUP. This is basically if you want to know all the soldiers who might be 11 coded between a specific ETS date range. So if they're ETSing between today and let's say 6 months from now or whatever. Or better yet, you want to know 9 Bravo. You hit ERUP roster and it'll show you all those soldiers with that ERUP. Expired ETS is basically anybody whose ETS is prior to today. Now, if you haven't pulled your PRRDB, then you may get a lot of soldiers on there. So a fresh, up-to-date PRRDB before you pull this is vital. If you have soldiers that are on this roster and you just updated your PRRDB, then it could be a soldier who maybe didn't clear properly or still on the system, whatever. Then your DJMS report, that'll show you all soldiers. Basically, it'll filter out all the soldiers that are in your UICs that are on the DJMS report without you having to go and search for them yourself. MOS, you have your counselings due. So this basically shows you, and again, I have this automatically set, for a month period, but you could change these dates. So if I want to know everybody from January 1st to January 31st, who has counselings due, this will show me, if it's a commander's professional development counseling, if it's an integration counseling, and when the due date is for that, their BASD ERUP. So this is kind of a good report to kind of have an idea of who's going to be due any type of counseling. And then the MOS strength report kind of just lets you search for, if you want to know everyone in Alpha Troop who is over strength and has an ETS date range of the 1st all the way to the end of the year. Just kind of an extra report, and that'll show you what their strength is when they hit the 9-day window. To kind of give an idea of, okay, these are all the soldiers that are overstrengthened, these are all the soldiers that are balanced. So that covers the reports. Now, as far as going back, you have your counseling re-up status. So this basically this allows you to update the back page of 4591 and to update the current retention status that you saw on the eligibility rosters. So what you'll do is you'll type in the soldier's name. So if I was looking at myself, Aldana, once that information is inputted in there, it'll start showing the name. You hit enter, and the soldier that you're looking for, their name and their social should show up here. And then you can type in their retention status. So hey, soldier wants to ETS. So that way, when you go back to your eligibility rosters and you look up that particular soldier, it'll say on their retention status that that soldier wants to ETS. And then again, as you do their integration counseling, professional development, all that other information. And this is kind of just to give you an idea of all the soldiers that are in their reenlistment window at the time. So that way you're not having to go back and forth to your eligibility roster to see who you talked to and what they said. It kind of gives you an idea of their name and saves time as far as having to go back and forth. Okay. I'm getting an error only because I don't have data in here. Alright, so then on orders report, this will show you all the soldiers that are on orders. It'll let you know how many months they're at that location and how many days they've been on the on orders report. And so this should be everybody. And then this report, the possible action required, is those soldiers who maybe you might need to extend or re-enlist. And then if they've been on orders for more than, if they've been on orders between 30 and 44 days, then that number will be highlighted yellow, and if they've been on orders for 45 days or more, then it'll be highlighted red. But again, this is just kind of like another quick tool to help you assess what soldiers need to extend reenlist. And then you have your 4591. So if you have like a new retention NCO who doesn't have any 4591s, you can select, let's say I have Alpha Troops retention NCO, just became the retention NCO, has no idea what the heck he's doing. You'll select that company. It's already preset to pretty much cover everybody that's enlisted. That's not in-def on here. So you shouldn't need to change these ETS date ranges unless you're looking for a particular ETS date range. And then you'll hit print. It'll ask you if you want to include the counseling form, the back page of the 4591. If you hit yes, then it'll do both pages. Obviously this is blank because it doesn't have soldiers information. But then the back page, which for some reason this is viewing wrong, but and then if you want to just if you don't want the back page, then obviously it'll only print out the front page, the 4591. If you want to do individually by social or by name, you'll just start typing in the soldier's name. Once it shows up, you'll hit enter and then hit print, and it'll ask you the same information. If there's any optional information you want to fill out, what the LOCIT is, what their home of record, you can put that there, hit print, and it'll give you that option as well. And then, and again, you can do that by social as well. This is for folder labels, for those of you guys who want to print out folder labels between a certain ETS date range. If you want to print all the labels out, obviously I don't have any information, so there's going to be an error, but if you use this to print out labels, it'll print out all the soldiers' information as far as who's going to be in the window between these two ETS date ranges. The retention options counseling, this is the FORSCOM form. Again, you'll be able to search by name. Now, because my PRDB isn't in there, there's nothing in the dropdown, but once you put your PRDB, you'll have a dropdown. You can search, start typing a name, and their name will appear on there. You can put the phone number and email, the RMC information, the date of the counseling, and you can print the form. So this is good for those FORSCOM career counselors that are required to do this form as part of their residual packet. And then you have the 3286, so Army training. I bet we'll do stabilization, guaranteed 1 to 12 months. Or if they did overseas assignment, you'll just leave it blank and we'll just put assignment to Korea, and then type of witness, career counselor. Now if there's anything that's in here, like drop down that you want to put differently, so like here I have accordance with the needs of the Army, and that's not what you wanted to say for some odd reason. Pretty much type in needs, whatever. But if whatever on the drop-down is incorrect or is nothing you want to use, you can just type it in and it's going to go based off whatever you type in there. This is probably a bad example to use it for, but then just pick the date, which I'm going to just use today's date. Print. Yes. And then there's both pages. For some reason, these pages keep showing up as smaller. I don't know if this is just my computer or what the issue is. But either way, that should allow you to print out both pages. And then the bar tracker. So the bar tracker, you basically, some of these drop downs will allow you to have some of that information if you want to get the soldiers rank. But this just allows you to keep track of all your bars. And then when you back up your data on the database, it'll save all this so that when you update to a new version, all your bar information is still in there. But this just allows you to, fill out your bar information in there, and to keep track of it. Your TEB report, obviously, if you have anybody on the TEB report, it's going to filter out only those soldiers that are in your PRD B, all your enlisted soldiers. So obviously mines won't come up with anything, but it also shows you the day that they should be counseled by and the day that they need to take action by, which should be 7 days and 12 days. But gives you an idea of what brigade, what battalion they're in, and all that good stuff. 4187s. This is one that's used a lot. So let's say you're a soldier who wants to do an early report, 4187 or deferment or unit deletion, or assignment deletion, and you don't have, maybe you just got a new computer and you don't have the template. But these templates that are on here were kind of sent to HRC to be reviewed to make sure that they were good. And once I got the thumbs up, they were pretty much, HRC pretty much said, hey, these are good to go, so that way, the addressing is good, all that other stuff. So all you basically have to do is just kind of fill out the highlighted information, make sure that whatever, this is for deferment early report, you have, soldiers requesting a 90-day early report under a requisition. Make sure that whatever reasoning you put, it's clear and concise. You don't want to put, just because the soldier wants to leave early, because chances are they'll get denied. But as long as you fill out this information, the highlighted information, it'll print out whatever you put on there, and then all you really have to do is get it signed. And then there's also the option to fill out page 2. And there's 4187s for reclassing, for deletion, whether it's for the soldier or for the unit requesting deletion, and then for school deletion as well. Now the reclass one's a big one because reclass has to be formatted, the 4187 has to be formatted a particular way. So as long as you follow this, you should be good to go. And then the deck statements. So deck statements in 3340s, it's going to give you an option when you click on these. So if you click yes, it asks you if you want the data to auto-populate from PRD B. If you hit yes, all you really have to do is type in either the soldier's name or social. So if you, let's say you type in their name and the name shows up on there. Once you hit enter, all the other information, such as their ETS date, their rank, their organization, all that stuff will be auto-filled. All you really got to do is, put in this other information. Place where they were advised, all these dates, name and rank of witness. All you got to do is type in those, but everything else will be pre-filled. Now, whenever you're filling this out, you don't have to fill out both of these. You only need to fill out one of them. So if you don't, for some reason, don't know the soldier's name, which I don't know why that would happen, or if you just want to do it by social, you can do it by social. But you want to make sure that both of these aren't filled out at the same time, because the date and if the name and the social don't match, then this is going to come out blank. So either use the name or use a social, but don't, if you don't need to, don't use both. And the same thing with 3340. If you hit yes, it's going to automatically fill in. All you have to do is type in the soldier's name, and once you have the name in there, and you hit print 3340, the to information, the from information, will automatically all be filled out. All you'll have to do is fill out the extension, reason, and the date, and then when you hit print, it's going to give you the option of what the 3340 is for, if it's for reenlistment or extension. If it's for an extension, it'll take off the Annex Bravo, and it'll actually show what the reasoning is. If it's for reenlistment, it won't show the reasoning, but it'll have Annex Bravo on the bottom. And and again, if you don't have, if the soldier's not in your PRD B, then just hit no, and then you can just manually type in all that information. Okay, before I go into stats, there's these little tools here for you. So Quick Tools allows you to check the strength of a certain MOS. So if you want to know what an 11 Bravo skill level 1 is, hit strength checker, it'll tell you, okay, soldiers have a strength. 12 Bravo skill level 3, they're balanced. And then, again, this is just a tool. If you need to convert a Julian date or a calendar date to a Julian date, So if you want to know what today is, that's 2 on the Julian calendar. If I want to know what 3/23 is, on the perpetual calendar, that should be November 19th. On a leap date, on a leap year, it should be November 18th. For week calculators, such as for variable reenlistment, 23 week reenlistment, then that's 131 days. And then again, if you want to bypass all this stuff and try to risk hoping the database is right, you can say 12/30/2012. So if you're reenlisted for 3 years and 23 weeks, then his ETS date should be June 7th, 2016. And then the strength manager is basically a way of telling your command how the overall strengths look, whether it's by battalion or by company. So if you want to know everybody in your battalion with an ETS date of, let's say, everyone that's in the quarter, so we'll say October 1st to June 30th, 2018. If you hit battalion strength, it'll give you a percentage. Now, it's not showing anything because I don't have any data loaded in there, but it'll give you this kind of like, it'll say, okay, 25% of your population in 36 Cav are under strength, 25% are balanced, and 50% are over strength. So it kind of gives you an idea, and if you want to go break it down by company, you can by company as well. Again, these are just tools to kind of just help you out. And then now stats. Now, this information is just your quarter stat data, only because your FY stat data is already set. Again, you can change these dates, manipulate these dates. So obviously any soldiers who reenlisted between January 1st, 2017, and this is automatically set to today, because obviously it's not going to have information for people who reenlisted in the future. And then with an ETS date range of October 1st, 2017 to the end of FY 18, because those guys count even if they're not in their window if they're reenlisting for SRR. So this information should be, for the most part, right, but if you need to manipulate them, you have that option of changing those dates. When you click Stats, you're going to be greeted by this. Now, this information is all your stat information. So your quarter stats report is going to ask if you want to do it for brigade stats, so like by battalion. If you want to do it by battalion, you hit yes, and it'll show you, by battalion, how many initials, mids, and careers you're enlisted, and the total. If you want to do it by company, then again, it'll show you each company, initial, mid, careers, all that good stuff. And then again for FY, and then you have your by name report, so it'll show you, if you're wondering, who reenlisted, if your numbers are matching, this will give you a by name roster. And same thing with your RC comp and RC confirm. Now, if you want to export all this data to Excel, you just hit export all stat data, and it'll save that file to your quick report folder, your all stat data. And going back, you also, now this, before I go into the stats builder, I've had questions about how to, for the stats builder, how to add these logos on here. And this one's kind of a pain in the butt. So if you have logos that you want to add, if you're using the stats builder and you want to add your logos on there, this is how you do it. So right here on my desktop, I have 2 images for my battalion and for my brigade. And the way to get these to go into the database is you're going to right click one of the photos and you're going to hit open with. You're going to hit typically it gives you the option for Internet Explorer, but let me see if I can find it. Come on. Open with. Choose another app. There we go. So more apps. Internet Explorer. So you're going to hit open. And so you're going to hit right click and you're going to hit copy. You go to the database and you'll go paste, and there it's in there. And you'll do that for both those. So let me see, right click, open with, it's still not giving me that option, unless I missed it. And then right click, copy, and then I go back and then I hit paste. And now both of them are in there. So that way when I go to my stat sheet, okay, close that, they're both in there. So obviously there's no data in here right now, but basically the way this stat sheet works is, so you're going to set the quarter start date. So quarter start date is January 1st, 2017, at least for as of today. The FY start date was October 1st of 2016. And then this is where you'll put your mission percentages. So if your initial mission was, let's say, 24.23%, mids was 32.15, and careers was 35.19. Your FY mission is, I don't know, 33.33. You know, and then your quarter projected mission completion date. Let's say you want to be high speed, and you say I'm going to be done by the middle of February instead of March 31st. Once you type that in and you click out of it, as of today, your glide path should be at 3%. For FY, that mission should be done by June 30th, so let's give us that whole time. So right now, the glide path should be at 35%. And then for the RC mission, that should be September 30th. So the glide path for that is 26%. So let's see. So let's just do some fake numbers right here. So I'm going to do my alpha, do my Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. Right. And this is where it gets a little time consuming. So let's say you've already pulled the numbers and you know you have 23 eligible initials, 22 mids, and 10 careerists in just alpha. I know these numbers are whack, but let's just bear with me, all right? So it's going to automatically calculate how much you should be getting mission for. So, so with an initial percentage of 24.230%, and you have 23 eligibles, you should be mission 5.6 soldiers. So if you round it up, that should be 6. Based off 22 mids and a mid mission percentage of 32.150%, you should be getting mission 7.1. So we'll round that down to 7. And then for careers, you should be getting, based off that percentage, maybe 5. Right? So again, these will change whatever you like. Let's say you don't get mission that much, or you don't want to mission them as much initials. You want to give it to Bravo Troop because they, I don't know, for whatever reason. You can change these, manipulate these numbers, and then based off your re-ups, you know, that could be, you know, 5. Let's say 1 and 2. Okay. And I'm just going to do this portion just as an example. So I'm going to do stat sheet. Yeah, I got it. My printer's connected. So obviously this thing isn't completely filled out, but for the information that was filled out, it automatically calculates, okay, I re-enlisted 5 out of 6 soldiers that I was mission of, so I'm at 83%. Since that is higher than my glide path, and it's green. So let me go back. So let's say hypothetically I haven't re-enlisted any mids. Let me do that again. So for mids, I've re-enlisted 0 out of 7 that I was missioned. 0%, that's less than my glide path for the quarter mission. So it's red. And obviously the date's automatically put in there. It puts out my glide path for all 3, for my FY, my RC, and then you know, the numbers for everything else. If you don't want these numbers to show up, all you really have to do is just come down here and just kind of delete that information. So all you have to do is, because what, I have 4 units, so they're all set to 0 though, so that way they calculate totals at the end of the stat sheet, so that way it properly calculates everything right. So let's see. almost done. These are going to still be in there, but whatever. Stat sheet, okay, got it. So now it's all empty, but the totals are still there. So I had 5, 7, 2, and it gives my final percentage, which gives me the total. So this is just a quick way to do the stat sheet. If that's not how I want my unit to be displayed, I want to put the awesome unit that stat sheet. It's going to put that up there too. So again, this is just another tool. If you don't want to use it, then don't use it. Just another thing for those individuals that do. But that pretty much covers the stats builder. That pretty much covers most of this database. Now, whenever you want to update your information, if you already know all your stuff is labeled correctly and you have all your files in there, then just update all data. If you're not sure whether or not your stuff is labeled correctly, just click on these individually, and it'll let you know. So, like, I don't have a DGMS bonus file, so it told me this. It gave me this little red X. But my PrettyB file, I know is good, and it tells me it's updated. So anytime you get let's say I push out a new update, what you want to do is, before you delete the current one, you'll make sure you hit backup data, and it'll let you know that the data's been backed up. And then when you delete the database and download the new one, you'll go and click on Update Restore Data. You restore from backup, and this will restore your units table, your stats information, your bar information, and all that other stuff. It won't update your PrettyB and all that other stuff. That's where you'll hit Update All Data, and it'll update all these files that were in your Quick Report folder. And then one thing that I almost forgot, the review soldier. So let's say you have a soldier you want to kind of glance at, maybe they're coming in for their integration counseling. You type in their name, they show up, you hit enter, all their information, their name, their rank, their brigade, their DRO, state last PCS, how many months on station they should have, their BASD, if they're promotable or not, their term, when they hit their 90-day window, when they're eligible to re-enlist, what their gear up is, what their strength, if they have a bonus, they're bonus eligible, what their scores are. If their scores are less than 100, they should be red. If they're between 100 and 109, they're yellow, and if they're 110 and above, they're all green. What their clearances, POLIs, MRC, EFMP, ASI, if they're married to if they're on an MACP program, their spouse's social, if they're on orders, the location and the report date, ASI, SQL, that good stuff. So this is just kind of a quick way to kind of review a soldier real quick before you do counseling or anything like that. And that pretty much covers it. If you need to, if you need to ever go to the YouTube channel, just click on that button. It'll take you right to the YouTube channel. If you need to purge all the data that's in the database, you just hit this. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to erase everything. If you hit yes, then it'll delete everything in the database. Hit no, then you won't do anything. And then for retention and zero, pretty much has all the same stuff, just a little bit stripped down. So not as many reports, doesn't have the stats information. It does have the commander's professional development counseling that the commander does annually on each of the soldiers on their BASD anniversary. So that's in there for them, but it doesn't have as much features. And then again, if you have any questions, you want to email me, maybe having issues. Biggest thing that I say is if your reports aren't displaying correctly, that you send me 2 screenshots. Send me a screenshot of your units information, and then send me a screenshot of your quick report folder, so that way I can take a look at how everything's labeled and where it's actually saved to. And then just email those to me, or text me, give me a call, and we can try and figure out what the issue is. Again, if you have any recommendations for the database, obviously I can't make it do everything. I can't make it re-enlist soldiers for you, but if you have something that you want to add it in there, we'll definitely try and get it to work if it's doable. Currently, we're trying to work on getting the bar certificate in there, but it's just taking a little bit more time than normal. But again, like I said, any questions or concerns, if you click down here, it'll automatically open Microsoft Outlook email to my email address. Just email me with any questions or concerns.